Thank you, Robin. So let me start by sharing my screen. Um, but I hate this because here I've got my nice big slide, and here I am way over here stuck in the corner, little mini me. So I'm going to change that. I prefer to be
Ooh, look at
part
that.
of the presentation. So here I am, big. And the fact is, we're all spending a lot more time on Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, WebEx, you name it. We're in front of the camera a lot of the time. And people talk about Zoom fatigue and issues like that. So I want to talk a little bit about a few relatively inexpensive, most of them are under $100, products that can make your life easier, or the life of somebody who's spending a lot of time on camera as part of their work. But before I get to the gifts, I want to talk about the three basic principles that I want you to keep in mind. The main three goals of being better in on your online meetings are very simple. One, you need to be seen. Two, you need to be heard. And three, you want to minimize distractions. Pretty straightforward stuff. So all the gifts I have address one or more of these different issues. So let's see what I've got. I'm going to start off with a webcam, and there are lots of good webcams, but the CA Essential Webcam Flex is a little different than most. The way it works is it's got this boom here, and you can swivel it down and turn the camera so it's facing you. So what that does is put the camera in the middle of your screen so that you're looking at people while you're looking at the screen. I mean, way too often, you're on a Zoom call and people are looking down because that's where all the faces are. So if you can bring your camera in to where the faces are on your screen, you'll be making eye contact, and it's a lot more engaging. Now, there are a lot of web cameras that will do this, and you'll find a bunch of them on the VED database, online database, if you're looking for not just hardware, but platforms and services and AI tools and all that stuff. Great resource. But the other thing about this is, as you can see, the camera swivels, so you can use it as a document camera, or you can put your product image down there so you can show it off and demonstrate it, talk about it. And it's also got some buttons up there that do zoom and some other controls, so it's really easy to use. So it's for one that is going to put your camera in the middle of the screen for you. It's one of my favorite choices. And then there's that part about being heard. And to be honest, the microphone that's in your laptop, the microphone that's in your webcam, probably just isn't very good. And if people have to strain to hear you, it's tiring, and they're going to give up, and they're going to want to click away or check their email or do something else. So good sound quality is important. The Blue Yeti has been my gold standard, probably for 10 years, something like that. Available under $100. It's got multiple large diaphragm condenser mic modules in it, so it has very high fidelity sound quality. And the cool thing about it is you can set it for different sound patterns. For the most part, you're going to want to use one where it rejects the sounds that are coming from in front of you and only listens to what's coming directly from you. And so it's really good at that. I've still got the one I've been using for years, and it's great. And the cool thing about it is it's a USB mic, so you just plug it into a USB port. No sound boards or settings that you have to worry about. You just plug it into your USB and it works. One of the problems with these mics, in my opinion, is that number 3 point, the no distractions, minimize distractions. And for some people, it's fine to have something big like this in the picture while you're talking. But for a lot of people, it could be distracting, and you want something that's less intrusive for your sound quality. And for me, a lavalier mic is a solution. And so if you notice, I've got a tiny little one here. That's the mic that I'm using. A good example of this is one from Sennheiser. Sennheiser, if you're not familiar, very big name in the sound industry, recording industry. They make really cool, high quality products. This is a very, very inexpensive device. And again, it's USB. So you don't have to be a sound engineer. You just plug it into your computer and it works. Unobtrusive, easy to use, and can be a big improvement. And kind of related to sound is when you're on, have you ever been on Zoom and somebody says, you're muted, can go off mute, or your camera's not on, or whatever, and there you are with your mouse, you're searching around looking for the right icon to click on, and how do you make it go on or off? This keyboard from Kensington is brilliant. The magic is in these 4 little keys up here. They come pre-programmed for Zoom. So you press this key and you go off mute, or you press it again and you're muted again. Same thing with your camera. You can hang up the call. So you don't have to go fumbling around the screen trying to figure out what you're supposed to click on. You just push one of these buttons and you're done. Very simple. This is more expensive than some of the other things I'm talking about today. It's probably, I think it's around $170. So it's a little more expensive than some of the other gifts. But for those who are on Zoom a lot and, run into this mute problem or other things, it can make life so much simpler, so much easier, and a good thing to think about. As it turns out, those buttons are also programmable, so you can do other things with them if you want. But for me, for many people, it's going to be worth the money just to be able to have a quick control over whether your mic is hot or not. If you want to go beyond that, that's definitely a step beyond that. And again, it's not very expensive. This is the Elgato Stream Deck, and it just plugs into a USB port on your computer. So it's easy to connect. There's nothing complicated about that. And basically what it is a macro pad that you can program for just about any program you're using, not just Zoom or Teams or those kinds of things, but you can use it with Photoshop, you can use it with Word, you can, Excel, you can program keystrokes into it. The cool thing is that it lights up and you can actually choose what icon appears for each button. And you can actually use your own images for the icon images if you want. So if you have a screenshot or picture of the program you're working with, you can actually put that on the button. Now, if it only had one set of buttons, it would still be really useful, but it's much more than that. You can have many, many pages of these buttons, and you can click between them so that you can go to different sets of buttons when you're using a different program or doing a presentation as opposed to just being in a chat or whatever. And in fact, I've got one right here, and I'm using it to do some of the dark magic that I'm doing right now. It's programmable, but it's not programming like Pascal or any of the C+ or any of those complicated languages. It's really just drag and drop text-based kinds of instructions. So it's not something that you have to learn a whole lot about to make it work. And it comes with all kinds of settings already for different programs. So it's very easy to configure and use. And I'm going to leave you with what I think is the best bargain of all. And that is a pair of cheap little googly eyes. Now, why googly eyes? Well, again, as I said before, it's really tempting to look down at your screen down here where the faces are and not up at your camera where you're making eye contact. And so a simple pair of googly eyes, you take them and you stick them on your computer. And as humans, we're hardwired to find eyes. It's part of pattern matching. We look for faces. Starting infants, it's one of the first things they can recognize as a face. So if you put the googly eyes up by your camera, it's going to be easier to look at that rather than down at your screen. So just add a couple pairs of googly eyes can make it much easier to focus on your audience and pay attention to them. Now, they're really cheap. They just cost pennies. You can Don't have to spend much to get a whole bunch of them, but most people don't need a whole bunch of them. So here's my.
You're not giving them out as presents, are you?
I am for anybody on the call. Gigi's already put my email in there. Anybody on the call, if you send me your mailing address, your postal address, I will send you a pair of googly eyes for your computer. So that's my gift to you all.
I love that.
So there we go. Thank you so much.